Okay, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Tea Time with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today is the 15th of July 2019, so welcome everyone. Welcome to this Monday's afternoon session where we're going to have a quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, some of the charts that we looked at this morning just to see how everything is going along. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so now then, just a quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel here, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our videos, and also our JFD research page here, where you can check us out here, and I believe you can find a lot of useful stuff. So feel free to check us out here online, and yep, for now, let's jump into the charts. Now the first one I want to touch on here is the euro dollar. I talked about this one this morning, and I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this 1.1275 level, which in a way still we are keeping a close eye on. Yeah, we did have a nice push to the upside here, but as you can see, the bears are kind of driving this pair back below this level. So what we're going to do here, we're going to continue watching this one, because what's more important for us today is looking at the daily chart here. If the pair stays above the 1.1275 and closes the daily candle here above that, then yep, it could increase the chances for the bulls kind of to drive this one higher, potentially aiming for the 1.1313 or even above that. But if it stays here, still for us, this little territory here between the 1.1244 and the 1.1275 it's somewhat of a neutral territory. We're going to continue observing the price action here, and if we see a drop below the 1.1244, then yep, in a way this could be opening the path towards slightly lower levels. We're not going to drive this one too far to the downside. Initially we will just aim for this upside support line taken from the low of the 23rd of May. So good potential area for the bulls to step in again, but of course we'll see how everything's going along then. Because if this line fails to withhold the bulls, the bears, then yep, further declines could be possible, especially if we see a drop below the 1.1180 zone. But first, let's get to this point before we kind of examine the downside. For now, again, we are in a slightly of a neutral territory. If we see the daily candle staying above the 1.1275, that's good news. We could see this one traveling towards the 113 and 113.13 zone that I've mentioned, or even going further up. But for now, like I said, we are somewhat more neutral than on this one. As you can see, the bears kind of kicked in here just recently, but they were not able to kind of drive this the pair below the pivot. But that's so far. Let's see how this day is gonna evolve, and let's see how this is going to play out during the US session. Jumping into NZDUSD now very quickly. I've talked about this one recently as well, and to be more I've talked about this one last week basically, and what I was saying, guys, is we need to see a nice good clear break above this key area of resistance. We did get that this morning, but as again, jumping into a daily chart on this one, you can see that the pair is currently kind of balancing just slightly above the 200-day EMA here, and below this 0.67, 21, 22 zone, approximately around there. So basically what we need here is a nice good clear push above, and we need to see that a daily candle at least staying above this level, and then we could consider further moves higher. With NZD, don't forget that we do have some data coming out out tonight. We do have the New Zealand CPI figures. Those are expected to be better than the previous ones. So in a way, if we do get a nice hit of the or should I say, if we do get a nice number like as it is expected, then yep, we could see this one flying higher a little bit, potentially aiming for the 0.6745 zone, or even further up here towards the 0.6783 area, approximately there. Let me just kind of jump back into a 4-hour chart here, and basically the 0.6745 acted as somewhat of a good area of support here back around the 16th of April. Also was an intraday swing high of the 17th of April, or should I actually say the high of the 17th of April. So good potential target, but for now all eyes are on this 0.6721 zone. We'll see how that's going to play out. If the numbers come out very good, then we could see this one pushing to the upside here a little bit. Of course, don't get me wrong, we do have a nice steep upside line here, and actually let me just quickly draw this one. So basically we do have this nice climb here, steep climb to the upside. Now if this upside line gets broken and we see the rate falling below the 0.6694-95 zone, something like that here, then yep, we will consider maybe a small correction here to the downside, and we will class this move as a little correction, because as long as it kind of remains above the 200 EMA, then yep, we will class this move lower as a correction before another leg of buying. So if this starts falling lower, then yep, we'll take it from there. But to be honest, it could turn out to be ugly for NZDUSD if it starts falling below the 0.66 level. So keep your eyes on that one. Of course, we're quite far from that area. First, the more important one is the 0.6721-22 zone, approximately around there. So keep your eyes on that one. NZDJPY, very quickly on this one. Now again, I've looked at this one last week basically, and I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this highlighted area here near the 72.40 zone. We had a nice pop here to the upside on Friday, or sorry, on Friday we did test that, but as you can see, it kind of sold off. It had a few false breakouts here, but never kind of managed to even close a 4-hour candle above that. So, and then it sold off and drifted lower, where it found good support near this one level right here, near the 72.05, from which, as you can see, it reversed and pushed higher and actually broke the 72.40 level. Now, of course, this increases the chances for NZDJPY to drift a little bit higher here, but we're not going to go too hard on this one to the upside, because as you can see, we do have this nice tentative downside line here that in a way could stall the rate and could kind of hold it, keep it down a little bit. But to be honest, if the bulls are too strong here, then a nice good push above the 72.93 zone, which is marked by the high of the 30th of June, or in other words, the highest point of June. So a nice good push above the 72.93, then yep, could open the path towards higher levels. I mean, for now, of course, from the very short-term perspective, we are keeping a close eye on this one. Especially we'll be watching it when the CPI figures are going to be coming out, so it will be very interesting to see if it actually makes this nice good pop, and if the figures come out as expected. And the New Zealand CPIs, of course, and then yep, we'll see if it pops to the upside. We'll see if this downside line can hold it. If it cannot, and if we see the rate pushing above the 72.93, then this is where it could become a little bit more exciting for more bulls here, as more of them could start joining in and pushing this one higher. If this decides to drop back inside this, or should I say below the 72.40 level, I mean, this is going to be our little neutral territory, because here in terms of the downside, we'll take a more conservative approach, because we'll wait for a drop below the 71.81 level before kind of aiming lower. For now, like I said, this little territory for us is going to be somewhat of a neutral one. We're just going to continue observing the price action, but for now it's kind of seems that the downside could be slightly off the table, because we're not far from this downside resistance line and this key area of resistance near the 72.93 level. So keep your eyes on that one. This leads us into GBPNZD. Now, GBPNZD, I talked about this one this morning, and I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this area right here near the 1.8705. And this morning we were still kind of balancing just around this level, and as you can see, this kind of had a nice break to the downside. It managed to travel lower, and what I also mentioned in my morning video is even though we do have a nice good area here near the 1.86 level, still the level that could get hit today could be today's S3 on the pivot points, which was around the 1.8629, 28 level, something like that. As you can see, we did kind of overshoot a little bit, but the bulls kind of quickly stepped in here and drove this one back to the upside. So for now, it's still, the pair is still below the 1.8705 level, but let's say for now, of course, all this is not really looking good for the pair, because in a way what could happen here, we could see maybe a small correction back up here, but if this 1.8705 level holds, we could see another leg of selling here like this. If this makes a nice good push back inside above this level, and let's say we see the daily candle closing above this 1.8705, of course, looking at the daily chart, then this will be a nice false breakout, which could in a way mean that the pair is not willing to travel further down here because it had enough, and we could see maybe this one pushing to the upside again. That said, before we could consider higher levels, ideally we would like to see a push above the 1.8830, a 32 zone, something like that, and then we'll target this nice good potential area of resistance near the 1.8950. Jumping into another GBP pair. Also, I looked at this one this morning, and GBPUSD basically. So what I was saying, that to keep a close eye on this level right here, and this is what I was talking about, the 1.2560. Initially, it was kind of acting as a nice area of support, but what I've said, that if it continues to hold, then yep, there could be a good chance for this one to push a little bit to the upside here, but towards this downside resistance line. But as you can see, the 1.2560 level failed, and we saw a nice strong push to the downside, testing the S1, and it kind of almost went here towards the 1.2525 level. Actually, it did went to the 1.2525 level, from which it kind of rebounded and is now trying to kind of get back into, the bulls are trying to get back into the game here. Let's see if they manage to do that, but to be honest, now that such activity right now is not really positive. I mean, in a way, this increases the chances for a further slide lower. You can see that I've got here marked the 1.2507 level, which is the low of the 11th of July, but this is the level that we're waiting for. This is the breakout level for further declines, because up until here, in a way, the pair could travel a little bit lower, but if it finds good support here, it might rebound and push higher. So that's why this level here for us is a more important one in order to kind of consider further declines. For now, we're just going to observe this one, because it's a bit of a tricky one, let's say. I mean, it could now reverse and push back up again. If it does something like this, if it does push back above the 1.2560 level here, which is also above today's pivot, then this could in a way, like I said, lead the pair towards this downside resistance line taken from the high of the 5th of May this year. So this a bit of a tentative one. I do understand that one, because we do have some empty space here, but still could play out, could hold the rate down. But of course, let's not over speculate too much on this one. For now, what I'm going to say is that we're gonna remain somewhat neutral, but we're gonna keep a close eye on these potential breakout points, the 1.2507 to the downside here, and on the upside, a push back above the 1.2560 could in a way open the path towards these higher levels, especially if it clears the today's highs as well near the 1.2575 zone. So keep your eyes on that one. And the last pair I wanted to quickly touch on was GBPCHF. Now this is quite interesting as well, because of course as you know, GBPCHF has been declining for 10 weeks already in a row. And if I'll just jump into a weekly chart here, you can see this this like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, this is to be honest, I mean, different charts show different things, but it on some other platforms, I mean, this is a bearish candle, a red candle, so, and this one as well. So that's why I don't really kind of think that this is correct, but in general it has been declining for 10 weeks now. So what I can say is that basically looking at this right now, looking at the daily chart, for example, you can see that it managed to break this key area of support near the 1.2343 level, approximately around there. This kind of continued to act as a good area of support recently, since the end of June. Basically this level kind of was holding the pair from falling lower, and as you can see today we're finally having this nice good break to the downside. Of course, what we're going to do here is we're going to continue monitoring this daily candle, because if it stays below here, if the bulls are not able to push this one back in above this 1.2343 zone, then, well, I mean, this could turn out to be ugly again for GBPCHF, as further declines are possible. We could then target the 1.2290 level, and just to show you what that level was here in the past, I need to scroll back here for quite a bit. And basically the 1.2290 acted as a good area of support here back on around the 24th of August. But don't forget about that, slightly below that, the 1.2220 level. This is basically the lowest point of August 2017, guys. So that's why for now, be very careful with this one. Of course, it's now below the 1.2343 zone, but let's see if the bears actually manage to keep it here. If they do, then yep, further declines could be possible. If the bulls manage to push it back above this level here, then in a way we could see maybe a small correction back to the upside here in the upcoming days. But again, for now, let's say all eyes are on the price action. Let's see how this daily candle is going to close today. Okay guys, I hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for sticking around and watching it till the end. If you want to join me tomorrow morning, as always, in my Traders Espresso, and that's 6 o'clock GMT time. For now, I hope you have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.